Hello and a warm welcome to the show. This is Pulse of Culture and I'm Sally Jastrzebska. Today I want to share with you a truly remarkable film that is both powerful and moving. It's based on a true story and highlights the struggles faced by the Belarusian opposition. The film follows a brave Belarusian journalist who live streams the government's crackdown on peaceful protesters following rigged elections. This leads to her arrest. Throughout it all, her husband stands by her, enduring the consequences of a regime determined to tear them apart. It's an eye-opening tale of love, resilience, and the fight for freedom. Let's take a look at the trailer for Under the Grey Sky.
Добрый день. Мы находимся на площади перемены у Менску. Нас, походу, возьмут. Малыш, подожди. Позвони, пожалуйста. Что? Слышь меня, позвони в редакцию и скажи, что я...
Лена! Лена!
Тримайтесь! Обнимаю вас, родные мои!
And I'm joined by the movie director, Mara Tamkovich. Hello and welcome. Delighted to have you with us.
Hi, hello, and thank you for having me.
So I actually had a chance to see the movie and I was truly impressed and moved. I wanted to start by asking you, what is the key message that you were trying to convey?
The key message, you start with tough questions, right? Well, for me personally, although it's a very difficult story, it's not an easy film. First of all, it's a tale of love and also my personal search for hope. And I hope that this film is, in a way, a message of hope, that humans have the strengths within them to resist even under the tremendously difficult circumstances.
Mm-hmm. And the movie is based on Katasyaryna Andreeva, if I'm not mistaken. Why did you choose this particular person?
Well, before I moved to the filmmaking in Poland, I used to be a journalist myself. I used to work for the same TV station as Katya did for Belsat TV. I was born in the family of journalists as well. So obviously this perspective was particularly close to me. But her story, her arrest, her and Daria Chultsova's arrest was in a way a symbolic thing that happened to the whole nation. They were the first ones to get criminal charges and such a long prison term. She was the first one to have her prison term prolonged after she almost did her time. So in a way, although in the film we go very deeply into personal struggle and personal perspective, the story of Katasyaryna Andreeva and her husband Igor Ilyash can be, metaphorically descriptive of the whole nation's struggle.
But Katerina is still in prison, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Daria has been freed, right?
Daria Chultsova has served her full sentence of 2 years, and Katasyaryna Andreeva, as a result of her second sentence, is due to spend 8 years and 3 months in a penal colony.
And is there any chance of her earlier release?
Not that I know of, no. In fact, I'd say on the contrary, her husband, who is the inspiration for the lead male character in Under the Grey Sky, Igor Ilyash, he was also arrested last year in October 2024 and is now facing up to 5 years in prison himself.
This is truly tragic. Did you receive any feedback from Katya's family, perhaps, on the movie that you've made?
Well, Katya obviously hasn't seen the film, but she's aware the film exists. She's aware it has been shown all over the world. It premiered at Tribeca, and she's aware about our cinema distribution. Now it's happening in Poland. We already had distribution in Italy. Igor has seen the film. He actually consulted with me a lot during the script writing process and during the editing process as well. Well, for him, I think it was a very difficult experience to watch the film that is inspired by your life, but is not a mirror. It's an artistic expression. He was very patient about that. And what's the most important for me is that after watching, he said he doesn't regret agreeing to it for a minute. So I took it as a huge compliment.
Let me just follow up on this and ask you, is there any contact with both of them or with perhaps one of them?
Well, with political prisoners in Belarus, most of them have very limited contact with the outside world. With Katya, only her closest family has contact with her. So I sort of have contact with them. I can ask how she is, but we cannot communicate directly. And the same goes for Igor. He only gets letters from the closest relatives. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and how is she? You probably know that.
Well, from what I know, she's holding up there. I know that her family has visited her lately, and she's alive, she's all right, she's as fine as you can be under the circumstances, I think.
Right, and so let me take a closer look at the plot and perhaps at the fictional character. I mean, how would you assess her actions?
I've spent a long time with this character, and it was a particular journey because with Ilya, with the character inspired by Igor, I had Igor, and I sort of had to build the distance between the person I know, the person I'm talking to, and the character. And with Katya, I've never talked to her. I only could, listen to the tales of her from the people who knew her, who know her, or watch her transmissions, her journalistic materials. So I'm waiting for the moment, when she sees the film. As a character, I tried to make the character, as human as possible, and maybe I took down the heroism a little bit, the decisiveness that Katya had in her. And if you ask me about the motivations, I think at the end, it's not about the huge struggle. It's not about the country or these big words outside. It's about what's within you. It's about the way you're gonna live with what you do for the rest of your life. She makes her decision at the end, all alone, basically, only with her husband. It's not about the external struggle, but it's a deeply personal decision that she's aware will affect her. And I think this is how it's done. I don't want to spoil too much.
She of course, is an incredibly strong person, and both are now paying the highest price, right? They're in prison, they lost their freedom. But there are many cases like this in Belarus, right? Over 1,400 political prisoners, at least according to Vyasna. This group includes also Ales Bialiatski, Andrzej Poczobut, among others, right? So what is being done to perhaps help these people? And why is that so ineffective, right? I mean, it's very frustrating for people on the outside, right, to see this happen to others.
I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I'm not the one doing all the stuff that is probably being done. But what we can say for sure, you've named this number, over 1,400 political prisoners. But what's important to understand is that this number is holding steady since 2020. So a lot of people like Daria Chultsova got their sentence of 2 years. So they went into prison, they served their time, they got out, and new people are being put on the place of those released every day. Now the practice of extending one's sentence is just a standard practice in case of political prisoners. So it is a very challenging situation, and especially when the focus moves on and the tale of political prisoners in Belarus is not the headline anymore. I think it's tremendously challenging to keep going, especially when you don't know for sure when would be this moment that you get out.
And one of the things that struck me when I was watching the movie is the husband saying that he is going to stay in Belarus because he wants to remain on the same planet, and I'm quoting here, that his wife is, right? And you're on the outside, you're here in Poland, and I wanted to ask you about this struggle, I mean, to make a movie about Belarus while being abroad.
Well, I've been living abroad for a while, but this movie for me personally, was a way to regain some sort of control, some sort of, activeness in the situation that just overwhelmed me after the 2020 happened. It was very challenging to adjust to the new reality of it all. And we basically saw the Belarusian reality dissolute into totalitarian chaos right in front of us. And as for the phrase you've quoted, I'm glad you've mentioned it, because actually that was something Igor told me. I asked him, why don't you leave? This is so illogical. You're staying there, and you know that, if you get arrested, there's not so much you can do. And then he told me that, yeah, but you're looking at it all wrong. It's not about the fight, it's not about my work, it's about my marriage. If I leave, I will have such a different life that it would be extremely hard for us to maintain the connection we have. And this is also what I'm trying to do with Under the Grey Sky, to take out the personal in the political, to turn on the camera at the moment when the cameras usually go off.
And weren't you afraid to make this movie? Are perhaps some of your relatives still in Belarus?
Yes, my family lives in Belarus, but as I've said, my dad used to be an independent journalist. I've been working for Belsat, for Euroradio, for independent Belarusian media, broadcasting from abroad. Going into making this film and the short film that was developed into the full feature was a decision I had to make. So I understood that probably if I make the film, I will not be able to come back to Belarus. But as I said...
But you're not worried about your family?
I'm trying not to worry about my family at this point. Me and my family are two very separate beings, and I hope that is extremely clear for everyone in Belarus as well.
Absolutely. I do hope that they will remain safe. And you've mentioned that you've been living in Poland for quite some time. You arrived here to start your studies, from what I gathered. And I wanted to ask you about Belarusian diaspora here in Poland. How does it all function?
Well, Belarusian diaspora, when I came to Poland in 2006, is a very different group of people than it is now. Poland has accepted a lot of people who had to leave after 2020. So basically, now Belarusian diaspora in Poland is huge. And what I can see and what I can also hear in the conversations with my friends, that basically Minsk has moved to Warsaw, also in terms that people have moved their businesses, and you can see cafes that used to be in Minsk now working in Warsaw, and you can see party places, but you can also see a big cultural scene that is supportive of the art dedicated for Belarusian audience. You can see the messages, interconnect, how the Belarusian stories get connected to the Polish audiences here. And it's a big group of people, and of course the actions of support to those who stayed in Belarus are happening, and several organizations are doing that. But at the same time, I can see that maintaining contact with Belarusian reality in the country, it is about a little bit the case with two different planets, so the struggles are different, the challenges are different, and I think it's going to be one of the challenges for us as a nation to face in the future, how to reconcile those who spend a lot of time abroad and those who stayed in the country.
And speaking of struggles and perhaps your personal struggle and creativity around filmmaking, what is your next big project? You've mentioned that you're interested in how Belarus has evolved into what it is now, right?
This is my dream project. I would really like to make a big TV series about Lukashenko coming to power, about the mid-90s in Belarus. But, well, now it's sort of, the dream project that is somewhere there. I'm sending, this message to the universe that this is something that I really want to make. But I also have a film in development that will be connected to Belarus and to real events, but it would not be connected to 2020. It's a story that happened earlier. And I'd rather not to say more this time. Stay tuned, it will come in
Absolutely.
several.
We're looking forward to this, and of course, fingers crossed for your dream project to also come to fruition. Mara Tamkovich, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Pulse of Culture. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.